good afternoon on a sunny Saturday. So I'm going to try and make this short and sweet. I'm going to look at should and ought to. So first golden rule, should. We do not say the L, it's should. Should. Second golden rule, we never say should to do something, right? It's not I should to walk every day, it's I should walk every day, I should eat less chocolate, I should exercise more. So we use should when we're giving our opinion. It's quite subjective. We're giving our opinion of what we think is the right thing or the best thing to do. We use it for giving advice, giving suggestions. So I could say, everybody should learn English as their first foreign language. Okay, I could also say, you should watch series on Netflix only in their original version, because it's good for your English learning. Okay, so this is my opinion. They also happen to be right, but that's simply a coincidence. We also use should in questions when we want advice or we want suggestions. So I could ask the question, what should I make for my first deconfinement picnic? Or I could say, my dog doesn't always listen to me, what should I do? I want advice or suggestions on how to improve things. Right, then we have ought to. So ought to is a bit like should, but it's more formal and it's a kind of, there's a moral obligation behind it. So it's something that could be required by a rule or a regulation or even a law. Okay, so you could say, right, you ought to carry a piece of paper with you when you take the subway in peak hours. Or you ought to always wear a mask when you go out and see other people. Okay, there's an obligation behind it. Okay, in the negative form, we would say, you ought not to throw your masks on the floor when you leave a shop. Okay, so it's ought not to. And in a question form, we would say, if I see somebody smoking in the corridors, ought I to report it to the principal? All right, so there we're splitting the verb, which is actually ought to, and we put the subject in between ought and to. Ought I to report it to someone? Okay, so that's the principal difference between should and ought to. So as you can maybe see, I don't know if you can see, I'm walking in some very long grass here. Right, I probably shouldn't be walking in this very long grass. But as my dog does not listen to me quite as well as she ought to, I don't really have a choice. But one thing is for sure, that when I get home, I had better check for ticks, because there are supposed to be more creepy crawly things in the long grass. Aha. And we'll look at those two tomorrow. So have a lovely evening, and I'll see you tomorrow.